If you are a freelance writer and you are wondering what the heck has been going on for the last 2 years with this space, clients are not reaching out anymore, you can't land any projects and things are just going downhill, then you should watch this video. Because today I'm going to explain why freelance writing feels way harder in 2026. I will explain exactly what changed about the space so you don't feel like you're in the dark anymore, and I will tell you exactly what we did to overcome these challenges and still thrive for our clients in 2026. So the first thing that we have to take a note at is client acquisition, right? Like client acquisition has been going way down in the last 2 years. And I know this because I've spoken with hundreds of freelancers over the last 6 months alone, and everyone is saying the same thing. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, everything was stable. People coming in from word of mouth, referrals, projects just landing in your lap without you having to do anything. But about 2 years ago, things started being volatile. People stopped reaching out. Agencies fired you. The people that were your stable clients before now barely have any projects and they're not even significant. And right now, you are probably in a state of panic, in a state of not knowing what's going on. And you are a bit frustrated too. And that's okay because it's normal to be that way because what worked for you suddenly doesn't work anymore. So this is the reality. Like, you're not alone. That's what I'm trying to say here. This is something that has been happening for a lot of freelancers across the world. But we figured out what changed and we actually took the steps that we needed to take to fix those things. Because for our clients, client acquisition is normal. As you can see, just on the 29th of January, my client signed a 20K project. Another project signed on the 10th of February, so literally 2 weeks ago, for $37,000. So these guys are still freelance writers. How come they're making money? And this right here, these are the daily numbers we are getting for our clients in terms of outreach messages that we send, responses from leads, interested leads, sent calendar links, and booked appointments. So as you can see, for one client in the month of January, we booked 19 appointments. For another client, we booked 11 appointments. For another client, we booked 10 appointments, and we have tens of interested leads every single month. So what is different? Well, the difference is that we understood what changed over the last 2 years that created this downfall in client acquisition, and we actually did something about it. So in this video, I will tell you exactly what we did. Right, and if you're wondering who I am, my name's Dennis. I'm the founder at freelanceclients.com, the only lead generation company in the world focused specifically on freelancers, and most of our clients are freelance writers, okay? So let's get right into it. First of all, I want to address what changed. Like, what changed so drastically over the last couple of years that made client acquisition fumble? Well, we have to break this down into two categories. The first category is things outside of our control. Okay, these are things that changed in the market, in the industry, in the world that you cannot do anything about. Okay, and then other than that, there's things that you can control as well. Even though you might not know what these things are, we're going to get into it, but yes, there are things that you could have done in the last 2 years that would have prevented this tremendous downfall in client acquisition. So let's start with the things outside of your control. First of all, of course, AI. Okay, anyone that's telling you AI isn't affecting the marketplace is a big liar, because it is. Okay, AI is growing every single day. It's becoming a trend. Language models are improving. People are relying on it more. So, like, it's just something you have to deal with. It's outside of your control because you can't like stop AI. You're not gonna be the Superman of freelancing and stop AI from evolving. But that's one of the reasons why client acquisition has gone down. And let me tell you exactly why. Because right now, especially right now, we are in the testing phase. Well, what is the testing phase? Well, you see, like, AI is just a trend. Everything is a trend, okay? Everything is a trend. And when a trend happens, it has a hype spike, a moment when things are going crazy, and then it self-regulates, right? Because in the beginning, okay, so let's say like when ChatGPT launched, this was the emergence phase, okay? So it was a new trend, and it had its early hype because people were like thinking it's something new. And this is where people, like started being overly enthusiastic about it, kind of like building their own cult around this new thing that is so cool and nobody knows about it yet, So we're over that phase. Then there was the hype spike, right? Which was, I think, in my opinion, 2024, 2025, where everyone already talks about it. It's not something new and alien anymore. And people are investing into it. Demand for AI related services is going up, and it's just like super hyped. Exactly like, I don't know, like the internet was when it came out, or exactly like when Facebook ads were a thing in the first place, you know? So this was the phase like around 2024, 2025. But now we are in the testing phase. Right now, we are in between the hype spike and the reality check. The reality check will come a bit later. We are still not in that stage yet. And the reality check, guys, is basically when the market's going to be saturated with too many people pushing this idea, and results will start varying. Like, people are going to realize that AI cannot solve their life problems, that AI is not the thing that's going to get them out of their current situation alone, right? So that's when things stabilize, and that's when we go back into normality. And only the strong AI assets, the strong AI offers and apps and software survive, and everything else just fades off into the distance, right? Kind of like, again, just like if we look at social media, like maybe we've had a lot of social media platforms, but look at Threads. Like Threads, which is like Instagram's Twitter, basically, it had a very huge hype spike in the beginning. Everyone was using it. People realized it's not any good. Algorithm died, and now it's normal, right? So nobody talks about it anymore. The testing phase, where business owners are testing luck. They want to like experiment with it because like they want to understand what the hype is about. This is the phase we're currently at, okay? And this is why people are hesitating to hire you as a freelancer, because right now they're not in a phase of, oh, AI is better than freelancing. They're in a phase of, oh, what if I give AI a shot before I go back to freelancers, right? So that's what you have to understand about the AI era, and this is why client acquisition is affected. Secondly, market saturation. Like, this is actually a thing. Go to Google Trends right now, googletrends.com, and search for any freelancing keyword. I already did the work for you, but like if we look at keywords like freelancing, okay? When do you see the spike in here? It's 2020. What happened in 2020? COVID, right here. Why was the spike in 2020 during COVID? Well, because everybody learned about online money, remote work skyrocketed, and everybody just started working from home. So this is when people oriented towards freelancing. Same thing, if we look for remote work, oh my God, look at remote work. 2020, look what happened, right? Like stabilized and then boom. And even now, like look at the difference between 2025 and right now. Okay, it's insane. Same thing again, ghostwriting. Look at ghostwriting, 2020, all-time high. Same thing with copywriting, 2020, all-time high. Okay, so I'm not hypothesizing this. This is real data based on Google, based on the biggest tech company out there. This is what people are looking for. And it's clear that around 2020, people got into freelancing more and more and more. And what does that mean? Well, supply goes up, demand goes down. It's very simple, right? Because the more people are getting into the same type of service, the less people need it because there's just so many options to choose from. And what happens when the market gets saturated is very simple. Trust goes down because there's more opportunities for business owners to have a bad experience. And let's be honest, like the entrepreneurs, the freelancers that were created in this time period during the COVID phase, they're not nearly as good as people that started doing everything before that. Because right now expectations are false. Everybody's doing it. Everybody and their mother has a course. So everything is just different. So that's why trust went down and saturation went up, right? And this caused people to think from, I need a freelancer, to why should I choose you? That is why people stopped coming to you. That is why you stopped getting projects. That is why agencies fired you. Because there's someone out there that understood this thing and they started doing something about it, which we're going to get into in just a second with the things that you can control. But the reason that you haven't been doing anything about it and you're just staring at the news and just like getting frustrated, that's not going to help you, okay? And I think you can notice how this right here, right? So like all these trends going up since 2020 and client acquisition going down since like 2 to 3 years ago are a similarity, okay? So I don't need to explain this to you. You can see what's happening here, all right? So these are the things outside of your control. Again, You cannot stop AI from evolving. You cannot stop people from learning what copywriting is and them stealing your clients or reaching out to the same people that you do, right? But there are a couple of things that you can control, all right? Now let's talk about those. Number one is you relied on fake comfort. Because referrals, word of mouth, waiting for people to throw projects at you is fake comfort. That's just like being employed. It's just like having a job. Like if the job doesn't want you anymore, then you're not going to have anything, right? It's just like building a business relying on one customer. Like it's not going to work. If something happens to that person, you are doomed to fail. So what happens with the fake comfort? Well, up until now, you used to get referrals and word of mouth. You felt comfortable, obviously, because why would you work towards building a client acquisition system if referrals and word of mouth are filling your pipeline? You got fully booked, and then referrals came in again. So you were like, oh, damn, I'm pretty good at this. I don't need to do anything else. People just recognize how good I am, and so on and so forth, right? But you didn't build a sustainable system. So what happens here is supply increased. Again, this is supply and demand, guys. It's the basic business rule, okay? Supply increased with a lot of freelancers jumping into the space. Demand decreased, okay? And the sad thing, and the thing that you need to realize is that your skill level doesn't affect supply and demand. Supply and demand doesn't care about your skill level, how good you are, what accomplishments you have, how many bestsellers you have. Like, it doesn't matter. Because supply and demand is only affected by the front end. It's affected by things that have nothing to do with your skill level. So I'm telling you, because again, I've heard this from hundreds of people. If you think that just because you're good at what you do, clients have to fall into your lap, then you're very wrong, because that's not the reality. Okay? So that's what you need to understand. You need a sustainable acquisition system. You need something where you can consistently reach out to new people. Even if you're fully booked, still reach out to people, still make connections, still book calls, still land small projects just to get your foot through the door. Because that's how you build long-term actual comfort, okay? Instead of relying on the referrals. Think about, like, if I were to give you the best example of what happened, guys, look at the automotive industry. Okay, like back when it got founded and Ford was the only company selling cars, Ford didn't need to market themselves, because if someone said, I need a car, okay, again, going back to this analogy here, if someone said, I need a car, they just went to Ford because it was the fucking single option, right? But what happens if you try today to open a car company? Do you think you're just gonna make a car company, do it better than Ford, and people will just recognize you? No, people are going to come and say, why should I choose you over Ford and Toyota and Mercedes and BMW? So that's exactly what's happening with freelancing right now, okay? Like, you need to realize you are not Ford, okay? You need to realize that. And that's why you need a sustainable client acquisition system, whether that is cold outreach, building a brand, doing something proactively, okay? Second thing is you refuse to outgrow the trend, okay? So what happens when a new trend appears, okay? In our case, again, it's AI, because this is the trend right now that is quite affecting you, okay? So you are ignoring it right now. And ignoring it is not going to lead you anywhere. You're just going to stay stuck right here, looking at this big thing in front of you, not knowing what to do about it, which direction to take, and getting frustrated that it's in the way. So what smart freelancers do, and what we did for our clients that was able to generate them 5-figure deals, even in this madness of a market situation, is we did one of two things. We either adapted. So what we did is we built offers around AI. We started using AI in our services, not to write, okay? Because I know, I don't want you to hate me. Like, I'm not saying you should write with AI. But you can still use AI smartly. What if you use AI to take care of research? What if you use AI to build systems for business owners that they can use your writing with, right? So we either adapted, where we improved our offer, okay? So we had a better offer, or we simply just positioned above AI. Okay, and this is the better thing to do, in my opinion. So what I mean by this is, now our offer is more important than AI. Okay, so if you know how to position your offer to be more important than AI, then you're good to go. Example, if you are a writer, right now, if you're going out there in the market and you are pitching clients that you can write blog posts for them, AI can do it. Okay, I know it's not going to be as good as your writing. I'm 100% convinced by that. But the business owners, don't forget, they're in the testing phase. They don't care. They want to give AI a shot to see if it works or not, right? So you going out there and pitching blog posts is not going to help. If you go out there though and you position yourself as a fractional content strategist, so what that entails is you write 4 blogs a month, you build an AI research system, okay, yeah, AI research, you have one strategy call per month, okay, and you pitch that behind the retainer. This doesn't sound like something AI can replace anymore. Because now you're not saying I can write 4 blogs a month in a Google Doc, send them to you, and then we're good to go. No, you're saying I want to become your fractional content strategist partner. And this is part of what I do. These are the pillars, okay? So you can either adapt or offer a stronger positioning. But if you're not doing one of these two things, then you are doomed to fail, okay? I'm just telling you to upfront. So this is one thing here. And now, when you get stuck, okay, like one more thing that I want to mention, when you get stuck and when you don't have a sustainable system and when this suddenly stops working, progress goes down and frustration goes up. And you start thinking, instead of thinking I can do something about it, you start thinking, why is this happening to me? You become the victim. And when you enter a victim mentality, you're not actually doing anything constructive towards it. You're just like blaming everything else. And it's okay to blame these things here, because these happen, like they're a reality. I'm not saying you're insane for saying AI is becoming a thing and there's a lot of newbies on the market right now. But there are things you can do which can lead you to results like these, okay? So what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to just take validation from this video that AI is actually a thing and market saturation is a thing, but still not do anything about it. Because it's like you're gonna fail. Your business is gonna crumble, it's gonna go to zero, and you're gonna have to find something else, which I assume is not what you wanna do, right? So it's pretty simple, guys. To recap, okay, what do you have to do? In terms of AI, just either adapt to it or offer a stronger positioning. In terms of market saturation, again, just build a better offer, okay? Just offer more things, position yourself in a different way that doesn't sound like everyone else in the market, okay? Don't be another measly car company when Ford is overtaking the market, and start building something. Start building a client acquisition system that can consistently bring leads and deals in even when things go south. And if you want to see a full 1 hour, 5-step breakdown on how we build these client acquisition systems for our clients, I've linked it in the bio of this video. So you can go watch that right now and you can solve this problem, all right? But that's pretty much it, guys. Like, no one's coming to save you. You have to do it yourself. So I think this kind of craziness is going to last for 1 or 2 more years. But I think people that actually take action on these things during these 1 to 2 years will be even better when it all stops, okay? So get to work, start implementing, and stop finding excuses.